Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. All right, we have a question that came in to us from Phil Druhard. And Phil says, "Hi Don, in reference to this question raised by Jim Perriman, if the alignment is okay, what could be the cause or causes for pulls? Thanks and a blessed new year continued through all of 2014, Phil D." Okay, now again, not to be picking on anybody, especially Jim who sent that question in. The question, I can't tell you how many times people tell me that they're absolutely positive they're lined up correctly and they're lined up good, and they're not. I think I've said it before and I'll say it again. I've started this procedure now when I go to golf schools, and when I got them all lined up there and everybody's present, and I start doing, so to speak, an introduction. I say, okay, what do y'all? We're going to come out here. I'm going to do my question and answer sheet on my diagnosis and prescription sheet, and when it's time to start talking about the swing, what do you think is going to be the number one thing we're going to talk about? And they get it right every time. The big A, all right? The big A. And so I've started this procedure now where I get everybody to give me what rate on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is poor, 10 is good, their alignment. And I promise you, everybody's pretty much in the 5, 6, 7 range. I've had a few 8s. Nobody's ever gone higher than 8. And I tell you, I've had very few. I don't think anybody's ever put 1. I've had a couple 2s and a 3, maybe a couple 4s, but they're way less. They're like 10 or 15%, maybe 20 at the most of everybody that's 5 and above. And I had one guy put down -2. And guess what? That was still too good for him, because he was so far lined out. He was almost aimed in another state. Okay, so that's the first question. Sometimes people, we get to playing and we get our alignment arrows down. All right, or you check your feet out, and this can become another really big problem. So let's say this is the aiming line right here. Okay, I'm going to try to set it up kind of towards the camera. Right now, according to this line's square on to the camera. I'm going to put this one down. Now, it might not look parallel to the camera because of the lenses distort things, but it is. But here's what the other thing a lot of times people don't realize. They might come down here and even do the checkpoint where they get in here and they put a club down and come back and check it, or they put a club down there before they walked in. You can do that. If let's say there's no line here right now, this is the ball, I'm on the golf course. I can stand here, check my target. I'll put this club down here, or another club, or the one I'm going to use. Either one, either way. You can bring 2 clubs in, take this one. Either way, but once it's time to hit, you cannot leave it there. You have to take it up and throw it away. All right, throw it off to the side, and you don't put it down ever, kind of pointing at the target. They can nail you for an outside agency on that one. But you can do that. But people get in here, and what they don't realize is they get in here and they got their feet square, but they don't have their upper body square. Because most golfers, instead of rolling your head down the line to look at it, so that I'm using my glasses now, your eyes should roll down the line from this position. But most people do what? They pick their head up like this to look at the target. And what's happening to my shoulders and my hips and my knees? They're being pulled this way. All right? So even if my feet were square, but if I look at the target this way and I come back and I leave it and the right arm's higher than the back arm and not in the master setup position, guess what? The odds are, if your shoulders are open, you just stand there, the club comes a little outside, and you swing more on your shoulder line, you're out the in, and there's a pull. All right? The other big issue, again, is part of alignment. I do, and if you're coming to a golf school, you get an answer. You've already heard the 4 other things we're going to do here. I'm going to ask you to grade yourself. And the second thing we're going to do is a person stays in there, and I do 2 checkups on them when they're holding a club. First, I come over here and I say, okay, when you're ready to go, all your body's athletically ready, I'm going to put my hand right here, lift the club up, and so the golfer lifts the club up, and he's going to put it in my hand, and I'm just going to twist a little bit to check their grip pressure. All right, then I have them go back down, and I come and I stand behind them, and I say, okay, when you're ready to go again, I'm going to just reach in here, I'm going to grab your club head, I'm going to grab your shaft below your hands, and just let me lift your hands. And I'm going to lift the club straight up like this, and what am I looking at? I'm looking at the leading edge of the face. And a square club face should have the leading edge square to the ground. All right? So that's pretty much square to the ground right there. Okay? So I haven't moved it. But here's what I see. Here's what I see on 95% plus at all the golfers. When I look at the club, it's over here. All right? And if they're right-handers and they're this way, what is that? That's shut. Shut club means it's aiming left. So even if you started shut, and even if you made a perfect swing and came back and returned that club to the exact position it was at impact, it's a little left of the line, you're going to have a pull. So your upper torso could do it, and/or you could have perfect alignment all the way up and down, and bang, you can have a shut club is going to hit the ball left unless you start coming into the ball, and you've got to start correcting it, and then you're going to start opening up your hands, and the next thing you know, in the that old TV show of 3 doors, you leave door number 3, which is pulls and hooks to the left. Next thing you know, you're through door 1, through door 2, and you're over to door 1, and then you probably passed it, and then you go back and forth sometimes, because why? After you hit too many over there, you're going to release it again, and it's over there, and so you can't ever truly find the exact right amount of opening it with a shut club face to hit it relatively straight and solid. The big thing is solid. Okay, so there you go. I just gave you 3 options of what could be killing you, even when you think you got perfect alignment, which in most cases, when we think we got perfect alignment, there's a higher probability we're not perfectly aligned 100%. And remember, when I talk about all lines, I'm talking toes, knees, hips, shoulders, and eyes. Now, naturally, just a couple other swing issues. A, you still could be turning too much, getting in a sacred burial ground. Even with perfect alignment, you get a little deep, or you swing too long, and the first move comes out and over the top. And if you come over the top, outside in, with a square club face to the line, the path you're now swinging on outside to in, ball's going left. All right? Sometimes moving a reverse weight shifting, you can get back in here and you reverse weight shift, and so you're hitting the ball, your body's going backwards, and you're hitting the ball later in the swing after it's released a little bit, and it's going left because it's already past square to impact. I mean, we could go on ad infinitum here, but I still think I can honestly say, and anybody who's been to a golf school and seen all of these things will know that alignment is one of the most difficult things to have, and even when you think you're lined up correctly, most often than not, you're not. And like I said, it's just not the toes. You got to start checking these other lines. And to me, one of the best ways to check if your shoulders are out is just look down at your arms, and if you can see your back arm is higher than your front arm, your shoulders have to be open. You want them leveled to a little bit below the master setup position. Just get into the manuals and the foundation manuals and everything. I'll explain it all. Okay? And again, I don't see it too often, but every now and then I will see somebody that gets the master setup position right arm too far, and the next thing you know, now they are closed out to the right rather than having been this way where they're going to be open out to the left if you're a right-hander. Vice versa for lefties. Okay? Well, hopefully this helps. The whole body and the club's got to be square if you want to hit the ball relatively straight and solid every time you swing, which is just about guaranteed because the hands always come back to square in the center of the body. All right? And that's another reason why our club's pointing at our belt buckle at impact, because we come back to that same position which squares it up if everything is square. Toes, knees, hips, shoulders, and eyes. And a square club face. And with that, you should hit it more solid straight, and therefore keeping the ball in play, hitting more fairways and greens, and shooting lower scores. That's it for today, and I'll be talking with you all again soon.